In our next meeting, I wanted to tell you the story of the endolift procedure. I know that history might seem incredibly boring to you, but for me, it's a fascinating story of developing a family business, as well as an idea of how to help patients with their problems related to the appearance of aging skin. And it all started in Trieste. Trieste is known for its literature, its magnificent port, and of course, probably for many other things, like Italian cuisine. But today it's not about cuisine, it's about the endolift procedure. And in 1999, the endolift procedure wasn't even called that yet. At that time, the company Ufotone was founded by surgeon Ovidio Maragoni, who wanted to create a laser that would be, firstly, effective and secondly, safe. And he decided that such a laser could be a diode laser. This diode laser is a laser for which, well, it was necessary to determine in which wavelength range it should operate. They experimented with many different wavelengths, and the people who came up with this company determined that the best medical effectiveness is achieved at a wavelength of 1470 nanometers. Why? Because at that wavelength, it can selectively target water and fat tissue with minimal trauma to our tissues. I have to say that I have performed over 500 of these procedures, and I only had one bruise, which shows that this treatment is truly absolutely selective. And that's how the company EU Photon was created. A laser was invented that worked precisely through optical fibers, which I will explain to you later how they work, but that will be in another podcast. In addition to that, the endolift procedure was developed. The endolift procedure is precisely about tightening the skin or removing excess fat tissue. But how does this relate to the laser? The endolift technology is actually based on semiconductors, and you probably know semiconductors from literature and geopolitics, because it's often said that the lack of semiconductors is a threat to the world. But in the case of patients, it's not a threat, but an opportunity. Because the semiconductors, which are the heart of this laser, make the procedure stable. What does that mean? If we have a fiber, which is still packaged here in a sterile way, but at the end of this fiber, there's a diode that emits energy, we want the energy to be the same along the entire length of the tissue where we perform the procedure. So we want to control the procedure. Thanks to these semiconductors, we can perform the procedure with incredible precision. One could even say surgical precision, which translates into the effectiveness of the treatment. Therefore, you could say that the history of Endolift is the history of the founding of the company Ufotone in 1999. Then, as you may remember, the company was founded by Elidio Maragoni. Later, his son Francesco Maragani developed the company to a global level. This is because the procedure has FDA certification, which is so difficult to obtain in the United States. And this certification demonstrates the high standard of the procedures performed. Additionally, it can be said that this is a path between a laser and, in fact, a medical platform, which we can call Endolift or Endolift X, where we can either tighten the skin or take a more radical approach by removing excess fat tissue, thus meeting the needs of our patients, which, regardless of the country we are in, remain the same. We want to look younger, more beautiful, and in a more natural way.